Parshiyos Acharei-Kedoshim this week. The truth is, the last couple of years that we've had Parshiyos Acharei-Kedoshim and Kedoshim together, we spoke on Parshiyos Kedoshim. So I wanted to at least, now in Baruch Hashem, the couple of hundred videos we have up, I wanted to try to get a shiur in on Parshiyos Acharei-Kedoshim. We did one a few years ago, but I thought it was time for another one. Near the end of the parsha, the pasuk says, "Ushmartem es chukoisai v'es mishpatai, asher ya'aseh oisam ha'adam," and the rest of the pasuk everybody knows, famous v'chai bohem. And you should live when you do the mitzvah, so to speak. So Chazal tell us, Gemara Masechta Yuma, Daf Pehei Amud Beis, that v'chai bohem means v'loi sheyomus bohem. That when a person is being mekayim a mitzvah, you have to stay alive. And we learn from here, famous drasha, that pikuach nefesh is doiche kiyum ha-mitzvahs. V'chai bohem, you have to remain alive. A person doesn't have to die doing a mitzvah. Very interesting, if you look at the Targum Onkelos, right there on the pasuk, the Targum says, v'chai bohem. How does the Targum translate v'chai bohem? L'chaye alma. That you will live, you should live. When will you live? Chaye alma, which we know is referring to olam haba. And if you look at Rashi, Rashi also says that v'chai bohem is talking about what? V'chai bohem is talking about olam haba. Why? What's pshat in that? Because you cannot say that v'chai means olam hazeh. Because when the Torah says v'chai, v'chai means and you're going to live. And we know nobody, no person, no human being lives forever. So it must be that we're talking about olam haba. V'chai b'hem could only mean olam haba. Can't mean olam hazeh because nobody lives forever. So it seems from what we've just said that there's a bit of a contradiction where the drasha of Chazal says in the Gemara that it's talking about kiyum ha-mitzvahs. V'chai bohem, stay alive when you do a mitzvah. And according to the Targum and according to Rashi, it's talking about the schar in olam haba. So how do we explain this seeming contradiction? The Nesivos Shalom also brings down the Mishnah in Pirkei Avos. The Mishnah says, we know it today, everybody knows it from a song also, Al tiyu ka'avodim ha'mishamshin es harav al menas l'kabel pras. A person should not do the mitzvahs of Hashem, shouldn't serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu in a way like a servant who would serve in order to get a reward. Hello, what should you do? You should be mishamesh, do the mitzvahs of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, shaloi al menas l'kabel pras. So it seems that the Mishnah, it's telling us here that where will the schar be? You're not going to get payment now. The schar will be also in olam haba. That's where, don't ask for schar in olam hazeh. You're going to get your schar in olam haba. Again, we see such a musak from this Mishnah that the schar is talking about, the schar is in olam haba. So Nesivos Shalom wants to answer this whole thing with a beautiful, beautiful pirush, and he says that it could actually, both things that we said, Sai, the drasha of Chazal, and Sai, Rashi, and the Targum, could all work together, and they do not contradict each other. First, Zok the Nesivos Shalom, that we need to know that v'chai bohem means something else also. V'chai bohem means that when a person does a mitzvah, he should do the mitzvah b'chiyus. And that's a very interesting translation on the words of v'chai bohem. Something extra. V'chai bohem, you should do a mitzvah with chiyus. You should do a mitzvah with hislahavas. Like we say in the davening, kol atzmoisoi toimarna. When a person is doing the ratzon, when a person is doing the mitzvahs of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's supposed to be in your bones. You're supposed to do it with hislahavas. You're supposed to do it with life, v'chai bohem. And Zok the Nesivos Shalom, this over here is also the shoirish and mikar of v'chai bohem in olam haba. It's not something different. It's one and the same. But we said over, you probably remember, we've said on numerous occasions, we've said over from a previous, from Shlomo Mikalin, from a previous Stolner Rebbe, he says an unbelievable thought. He says that he knows, and how he knows, we don't get involved in these things, but he says he knows that in Shamayim, the following goes on. And this is what he says. You could have a person who's Mekayim the Torah. He's Mekayim the mitzvahs. And he keeps Shabbos too, with all the diktukim and all the chumras of Shabbos. However, when it comes to feeling, to doing Shabbos with a feeling of that Shabbos becomes alive, that you're supposed to feel the tainig of Shabbos, that he doesn't do. He does the mitzvahs, he goes by the book. He's not over anything, he goes by the book, everything. But when it comes to putting yourself into the geschmack of Shabbos and the tainig of Shabbos, he doesn't do that. Zok Reb Shlomo Mikalin brought down in Nesivos Shalom the following. He says, when that person gets to Olam Haba, La'achar Mea V'Esrim, Avada, they're going to give him his schar for Shabbos. They're going to give him his schar. But you're going to be in Olam Haba. But when you know what you're going to be in Olam Haba, you're going to be like a chair, like a bench in Olam Haba. You're going to be there. But the same way you didn't do the mitzvahs with any life, the same way you didn't do it with any feeling, you're going to be the same way in Olam Haba. You're going to be there, but you're not going to feel it. The explanation, the Nesivos Shalom explains it, and he says that the tainug of Gan Eden, where we know that the tzaddikim, they bask in the light of the Shechina, the Ziv HaShechina, it's directly related to the chiyus and the way you do your mitzvahs in Olam Hazeh. If you want to be alive and you want to feel the light of the Shechina, you want to feel that aura of unbelievable light from HaKadosh Baruch Hu in Olam Haba, you don't just want to be there, that's directly related to how you do the mitzvah. You do a mitzvah, you schlep through a mitzvah because it says, no. A person has to do it with a chiyus. You have to do it with a tainig. And so too, unfortunately, we know the opposite is true also. Zok Nesivos Shalom, that the Eish of Gehenna is also the punishment, chas v'shalom, that comes to a person who doesn't do tshuva, and a person that comes up to Shamayim with Averis. The Eish of Gehenna is directly related to the amount of taiva a person does in Avera here in Olam Hazeh. So v'chai bohem, that's v'chai bohem. V'chai bohem is to stay alive in Olam Haba. In order to be alive in Olam Haba, a person's going to be in Olam Haba, he does the mitzvahs, keeps Torah, you're going to be there. But in order to be alive, that's a different category. So now we could say that the two pirushim that we mentioned, they're not soiser each other at all. They are contingent upon each other. In other words, through v'chai bohem, through doing the mitzvahs in Olam Hazeh, v'chai bohem, staying alive and doing the mitzvahs in Olam Hazeh, through v'chai bohem, doing the mitzvahs in a lively way, doing the mitzvahs v'chai bohem, with a tainug, with islahavis, through that you'll be zoiche to the v'chai bohem in Olam Haba. Not pshat, it's two different pshatim. One brings you to the other. V'chai bohem, being alive, doing the mitzvahs with being alive in Olam Hazeh, memela automatically brings you to the v'chai bohem in Olam Haba. And Zok Nesivos Shalom, that's the reason the Torah says also, Ushamar, in the same pasuk, the Torah says, starts off, Ushamartem as chukoisai. Why do we start the pasuk of v'chai bohem with Ushmartem as chukoisai? Is because chukim are a separate category. We all know that chukim are a category of mitzvahs that a person doesn't know the reason for it. A person doesn't know why you have to do the mitzvah. It's a chayk. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to do it. So till now we were talking about mitzvahs that you have to do with a chiyas and a tainig, and you have to be alive when you do a mitzvah. But a chayk, a person may not do it so much that way because you don't know. You might not do it with such a cheshek because you don't know why you have to do it. So it's telling you, the Torah is telling you, Shmartem as chukoisai and v'chai bohem, in the same pasuk to tell you that even those mitzvahs, even the mitzvahs you don't know the reason for, you have to do that with a chiyas. And he brings down from the Divrei Shmuel. The Divrei Shmuel says Tzahalav lezecher malchusai. What's a taich? He says a beautiful taich in that pasuk. We say it in Kel Adoin every Shabbos. He says Tzahalav lezecher malchusai. That just from being zoiche lezecher malchusai, just from being zoiche to say Baruch Ata Hashem, to say the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you should be full of simcha. Before you get into what the mitzvah is about and why it is and why we do it, Tzahalav we should be ecstatic, lezecher malchusai, just that we're zoiche to do and to mention the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So of course we know, of course we can explain the Mishnah now that we asked on. Avad, the person has to be Oved Hashem, shelo yal menas l'kabel pras. But a person should know you're doing it, the mitzvah, and not thinking in your mind that you're going to get the schar. But the schar comes memela zok the Nesivos Shalom. By being besimcha when you're Oved Hashem, it's not pshat that you're doing it in order to get the schar. That's the way the world is set up. You earn the chiyus in Olam Haba. You earn the being alive in Olam Haba from v'chai bohem. It's not schar. V'chai bohem. Memela. You do a mitzvah b'simcha in Olam Hazeh v'chai bohem. When you come to Olam Haba, you're going to be alive. You're not going to be just like an inanimate thing that sits there in Olam Haba. It's something that's going to happen. Memela. And we could give the same teretz. The pasuk says, we say every day, twice a day in Kriya Shema, B'hoyam shemoya tishma'u. If you're going to listen to the mitzvahs, then we say, Li'avos Hashem lekechem, u'li'avdoi b'chol avavchem. Then the pasuk goes on, V'nosati mitar artzachem. So it looks like from here, that again the Torah is telling you, you do mitzvahs, then you're going to get schar. Again, it seems that the Torah is telling you, it's a give and take. You do a mitzvah, V'nosati mitar artzachem. Zok the Nesivos Shalom, no. That's not the Torah telling you that you're going to get schar. It has to do, Zok the Nesivos Shalom, it has to do with the word in the pasuk of Le'ahavos Hashem Elekechem. If you do a mitzvah with love, if you do it with a chiyus, if you do it le'ava, then the schar is going to come to you memela. It comes to you, v'nasati is memela. Not pshat, I'm giving you v'nasati, metar artzachem, I'm going to give you parnasa, I'm going to give you all the good things. No, not pshat, it's a schar. I'm going to give you your parnasa. I'm going to give you what you need if you do the mitzvahs of HaKadosh Baruch Hu with a chiyas. And he ends off in the Nesivos Shalom with a beautiful thought. He says, mitzvah goyreres mitzvah. We know it's brought down that when a person does a mitzvah, goyreres mitzvah brings him to another mitzvah. What pshat? Why is it, who said that when a person does one mitzvah, why should it bring you to a totally different mitzvah? The Nesivos Shalom says a very interesting thing. He says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to always do good. He wants to do good for people all the time. Mitzvah, when a person does a mitzvah, goyreres mitzvah, you're bringing another mitzvah on yourself, that you're giving a nachas ruach to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. What's the nachas ruach? That He can do good for you. You hear that unbelievable pshat? That HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to do good for you, but sometimes we don't let Him. If you do a mitzvah in the right way, you do a mitzvah with tainik, you do a mitzvah with chiyas, with a v'chai bahem, like we explained this week, Parsha, goyreres mitzvah, you automatically are getting another mitzvah, because you're giving HaKadosh Baruch Hu the opportunity and the chance to do something for you, to do good for you, and it's something HaKadosh Baruch Hu is waiting to be made to Labrias, to do good for everybody, for every member of Klal Yisrael. Let's talk about Zoicha to take this lesson to heart. That we should do our mitzvahs in a Levitic way. We should do our mitzvahs, act like we're alive when we do mitzvahs. Don't just do it by rote. Don't just do it because it's written in the book. We should do our mitzvahs that way. We should talk about Zoicha to v'chai bohem in the v'chai bohem in Olam Hazeh, which brings us to the v'chai bohem also in Olam Haba.